Welcome back to Heart to Head with Olivia and Jessica.
Sup? I still like this whole like ASMR, like everyone at home. I have a new microphone, so there's a part of me that I'm like feeling like a late night host on like a R&B kind of like station that you like are
Only because
like,
you dropped your voice like 2 octaves. You're like, hello.
Okay, anyway.
Hey! Today, we're going to be talking about how to change behaviors and what that kind of looks like. And for me, how I interpreted this was just when either you notice internally or if someone that's in your inner circle points out to you about a behavior that you're doing, and then you kind of assess and figure out, okay, is this something that is an actual issue and like something I want to change, or is it something that just this person's pointing out and it's something on them that like they're triggered by, or something's bothering them internally, and I assess it and I'm like, no, I like this and this is who I am. And also, for me, I don't normally regard the people that are outside of my inner circle and like what they say. So if someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, I don't like the way that, you're so organized and you overplan things." I'd be like, "Whatever. Like it's something I'm good at and I like it. So I don't have an issue with you telling me this." So I just wanted to point out that for me there is like levels as well. Like there's people that are just outside the inner circle that's just like, whatever. I don't really care what you say about me because I already know how I feel about myself. Then there's my inner circle where it's like, okay, I'm definitely going to think about this. Not guaranteeing I'll do anything, but I'll definitely think about this because they love me and they support me and they're pointing this out because of that. And then there's the internal where I'm like, okay, I definitely want to change this, but what do I change this to? Because I don't like this right now.
Yeah, I think it's a really hard thing, and the way that I love to think about this for myself when I'm going through the process is it's sort of like you're relearning how to walk. When somebody mentions something like a behavior, or if you recognize a behavior within yourself that you want to change, it's already pretty hardwired in you. Like it's already set up as a default. It's already set up as something that you're like, this is just something I do on autopilot. So it's a really emotional process to go through to A, realize that you don't like that behavior about yourself. B, listen to someone say, hey, do you realize you do this? And that's really hard too, because like your ego comes in and your ego goes like, fuck that person. And how dare they say that? But then, your heart gets a little bit more involved, your brain gets a little bit more involved, and it goes, wait a minute, I don't like this about me either. So, I think when it comes to that sort of aspect, it's the mirror. It's that, it's that look of yourself in the mirror of going, ooh,
And that's what we've talked about
yeah.
before, about if something is already known with inside us, or it's like one of our insecurities of like, if someone came up to me and was like, oh, hey, I don't like your blonde hair. And it's like, well, I love my blonde hair, so I don't have an issue with that. But if someone came up to me and said something along the lines of something that I am insecure about, then I would be like, wait, what? And it's like, it's the same person could be saying in the same tone, but because of what the topic is and what resonates inside of me, that's what makes a difference.
Well, yeah, and most of the time, if someone else has mentioned a behavior to you, it's something that you are doing, I hate to say it, so subconsciously, that has another reason, because you're scared, or it's a defense mechanism, or you're doing it in some sort of way as a protection for yourself. And so it's very interesting when someone else brings it up, because then you're like, oh shit, other people see it. Wait, what? So you kind of have to do this like whole like, oh my God. But I think the thing that's very important is to know is changing a behavior is really, really, really hard. And it's not just hard emotionally. It's hard physically. It's why people, some people have really progressive weight loss changes that they can make, because they're changing the way they're eating. They're changing so it is definitely you do have this like homework, so to speak, where you have to be disciplined, but it's very important when something is being brought up of a behavior. Now, a behavior could be like, okay, if you're going out to a bar and you're hanging out with a group of friends and your MO is always to like make fun of people. And that's the way that you're like, oh, but that's how I get like people laughing. Or sometimes it can be another thing where it's self-deprecating. So maybe you're, making fun of yourself first to prevent from other people making fun of you. Sometimes when you're feeling a little cocky and a little egotistical and you're like, I'm hot shit, I'm amazing. And people are like, you're not that hot of a shit. And you're like, wait, what? Because what happens with a behavior is not something that is genuinely you. A behavior is something you're putting on. So it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like, it feels like autopilot, yes, but it doesn't feel like it's a part of you. It's something that you feel like you're putting on your armor, you're putting on your coat, like, everything that we do every day when we get dressed, unless you're a nudist, which good for you.
Rock
good
on.
for you. Rock on, man. But like, that's what it is. So
I was just gonna say with the group, it's like saying, oh no, now you're a little shit. That's hot. Instead of the other way around.
Well, I mean, if somebody is recognizing a behavior in you that they're like, you know what, this is something you're doing, and it's normally not a positive thing. It's normally like, hey, we love the fact that you come in and compliment everyone. Nope, that's not going to be a behavior that's anyone's going to want to make a change of. But the main thing to know when you are going through this process, yes, it sucks. Yes, your ego gets involved because your ego created the behavior. But the thing that you want to ask as soon as you're ready for this is, why do I think I'm doing this behavior? Because that's the first question that's going to get a little bit deeper within yourself to help you go, yeah, why am I well, by the way, even if you ask why, you're not going to get a straight answer. It's not going to be like, I do this because of this. You're going to hear probably
internal thoughts don't work like that, where you ask yourself, wait, yes, here you go, Olivia. This is exactly why you do this. Like, what? It doesn't work like that?
Well, I would say whenever I do it to myself, it's always funny because I go, why? Like, I make the conscious question of, why am I doing this behavior? And then my subconscious answers back to me and goes, why are you doing this behavior?
And then it just leads you down this rabbit hole of figuring out what it is and where it's coming from, whether it's like, something from childhood or whether it's a social, adaptation, or whatever the case is.
Yeah. And I think I love that you said in the beginning, because the whole aspect of when someone is mentioning something to you about changing a behavior, it's because they realize you're not being the awesome person that you deserve to be. So they're kind of seeing this behavior as a preventative to your awesomeness. So, your ego does get involved and you're like, fuck them. And how dare they say that to me? And if you're not self-aware enough of, changing that behavior and actually listening to what a person says, you will 100% go, fuck you, I'm going to do me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if you are being more conscious, you need to know from that person's perspective, they love you. And when somebody mentions something that they don't really like in you, sometimes when it comes to a behavior, it's because it's preventing from your awesomeness. They know you're better. They know you're awesome. They know you're cool. And when you act in a certain way, it's kind of, they're like, no, nope, wrong. You're not being cool, man.